Hello and welcome to another episode of Top Deck, the series where we take a look at some of the leading TCG deck lists. So this time we have Alfie Morton's second place list from the recent LLDS in Llandudno. So he was once again bringing True Draco to the channel. Obviously things have changed up a fair bit. What with the recent rise of Gookie, you really need a way to outlet massive boards. So let's run through the list. He couldn't remember the specific rounds that he played, and he didn't have a particular siding strategy, but I did send him a few questions over Facebook, so we've got some answers to those as well. So we're starting off with 1 Dynamite, triple Ignis, and double Maiden. Certainly we've seen the rise of Ignis being the preferred option over Maiden, just because it gives you access to cards that are generally more important. You know, putting extra monsters in your hands definitely clashes with the Demise. Triple Demise, triple Disciples, triple Diagram, 1 Desires, triple Duality, 1 Terraforming, triple Heritage, triple Goes and Match, triple Rivalry, 1 Skill Drain, triple Erupt, triple Apocalypse, 1 Return, and triple Waterfall. Again, you know, fixing your hands, but still being able to play through a Demise is pretty important, actually. Plus we see a reduced number of draw cards in here, which definitely allows you to sort of play around draw, because there's no specific main decked way to deal with hand traps. Nor on the side, actually, either. For the side deck, triple Border, double Ra Sphere Mode, triple Zephion, and double Strike. This is pretty interesting, we'll get onto this in a bit. Double Anti-Spell, and triple Evenly Matched. Alright, so as for the questions that I asked Alfie, we start off with the usual, how was the event? He said that the event was overall fine, however he thinks that he could have come in first place, so was a bit disappointed with that. Then I asked him why he chose to play Draco in this format, more specifically the version with no extra and the extra. The additional main decked floodgates within the main deck, and he said that he thinks we're at a point in the format where it's become a bit stale, given the sort of rise of Goki and a lot of Sky Striker, Trickstar, that kind of thing. So he decided to play Draco, as he's done well with it in the past, and it's certainly a change up from things. He chose this specific version of Draco because it's the deck with the greatest matchup versus every deck going first and second as well. Then there's no specific anti-hand trap stuff within the deck. There's no Amano, no Call by the Graves. I just wanted to know if he decided to play it more to push through things. He said he wasn't really bothered about hand traps. If his opponent draws him, then he's +1, so that's fine. And Ash and Ogre can be annoying, but it's not really an issue to push through them with all of your high power draw cards. He's got the triple Waterfall in the deck, so I just wanted to know how good he thinks it is at the moment. He says that it's really good as it helps you play around your own floodgates, like Goes and Match and the Rivalry as well. Well, obviously the Rivalry is not so much of an issue in this build, but it is when you bring in like the borders. Whilst also working well with Demise, the Waterfall allows you to just sort of play around having those extra cards in hand, and it lets you get to your monsters faster, so you can enable your Strike of the Monarchs a little bit quicker. As for the side deck, for specific matchups, I just wanted to know when he would be bringing in Border, and why he would. So he said it's pretty much just always for going first versus everything, because the inability to use monster effects is really good, whilst also preventing your opponent from hand trapping you. He says he was thinking of playing Thunder King as it deals with the problems of your that your other floodgates don't deal with, but he felt it was really hard to push as you couldn't use your diagrams or your Demise in order to extend a little bit. So that was the major issue with that, which is why he went for the Border instead. Strike of the Monarchs is pretty interesting. I wanted to know if it was mainly for dodging Sky Strikers or if it was for another thing. He said it's pretty much just a thing that you bring in going first, because you can use it to negate stuff like Evenly Matched, and it allows you to carry on playing the game under a red reboot, because it's obviously an interrupt that doesn't get shut off by that card, which is pretty important. As for changes that he'd make to the list, he thinks it's pretty much fine. He'd play an Impermanence if he has some extra slots, and maybe a third Strike the Monarchs. As for the hardest and easiest matchups with this build, he said that Goki is both the hardest and the easiest matchup. Obviously the deck is kind of designed to deal with it, but it's still a very, very tough deck to compete with. If they're playing Gumbler, you just kind of take the loss. But if they aren't, then all you need is Floodgate A and Floodgate B in order to win the match going first or second. So that's the list from Alfie. Thanks very much for showing us what you were playing at this event. Great to see True Draco coming back in again and performing well for you. Shame you missed out on the first place, but I'm sure you'll be heading out to more competitive events, and hopefully you can take that crown at the next one. Thanks for watching this episode of Top Deck. If you have any comments or suggestions that you would like to make, leave them in the comment section down below. Check out the description for details of how you can get involved in this series. You can enter by voice interview, or instead you could just send all of your information over Facebook Messenger. Anything like that will be absolutely fine. If you want to see anything in particular from the upcoming series, then be sure to get in touch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.